Thank you for joining us for this edition of Outreach News. Outreach News is a media blog program that provides awareness of and shares the stories of countless individuals and agencies who provide help to those in need. Well, hello everyone, and thank you for listening to and or downloading to this edition of Outreach News. I'm Linda Knox, your host. I'm very excited today about our special guest, Mr. Oladipo Obisesan, who comes to us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Oladipo is the author of the book entitled Living Without AIDS. The subtitle is Helping Families and Youth Win the Fight Against AIDS and Attaining a New Dimension of Exceptional Living. Oladipo, welcome.
Thank you, Linda, for your support.
Well, it's so nice to hear from you. I know we've had a little trouble getting together, but finally the day has come. This has been long awaited. I have your book, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm just very eager to be talking to you today. And it's just a blessing to have you here. Now, you have some pretty fascinating work, and you've been doing some great work in the area of HIV/AIDS awareness. And I'd like to just tell our listeners a little bit more about you before we actually get into some of the questions. And here's a bit of your bio. It says, Oladipo is called into the ministry of intercession and the head of the Ninth Hour, a dynamic non-denominational prayer and intercessory ministry in Lagos, Nigeria. He attained leadership transformation through the outstanding ministries of Daystar Christian Center, Lighthouse Christian Outreach Center, and the Word of Faith Bible Institute, all in Lagos, Nigeria. His day-to-day interactions with HIV/AIDS initiative groups ignited his passion to fight the challenges of this worldwide plague. He has since done extensive research on HIV/AIDS and related subjects and now leads the Living Without AIDS mission. He attained his BS degree in economics with honors from the University of Lagos and had his mandatory National Youth Service assignment as a human resource specialist analysis with DHL International. Oladipo is a registered member of the National Minority AIDS Council, Washington, D.C., USA, a member of the Board of Trustees for the Widows in Need Initiative, a volunteer member of God Sent Caring Missions, and president of Doorpost International Limited, a web solutions company. He believes that everyone who is born of God has the desirable tools to attain success through diligence and prayerfulness. His philosophy of life is, success is discernible in prayer but attainable by actions. Wow, how impressive. What a bio. You're a very busy person. Now, Oladipo, you talked in your book about the required national service after graduation. Can you tell me about that and how it led to your work with HIV/AIDS?
Thank you, Linda. In this part of the world, it is required that you have to go through 1 year in national service. So while I was doing my 1 year national service, I was put into a secondary school. So in that secondary school, we were told to give them comprehensive lecture on HIV/AIDS. So while we were doing that, we saw the reaction of the teenagers. We saw that they didn't have so much knowledge about HIV/AIDS. So I was bothered about that. So a particular day, I was thinking about the fact that there is need for us to take this information down to them in such a format that to be able to understand what we are trying to teach them. And in the process of doing it, I intended to write a pamphlet so that we'll find a way of using a graphic to explain to them what a life-saving information about HIV it could do to them. Okay. And that was how God led me into that book.
Oh, okay. So then you wrote it. It all started then writing a pamphlet, which was a part of your service with the national service there, and you got the pamphlet together, and it's something that could help with teenagers. And you also mentioned helping with families. How is it that you actually work with families to help to educate them about HIV/AIDS?
During that service here, what we discovered is this. We realized that HIV/AIDS is actually to be one within the family tree. So we realized that unless parents come in to help us, we might not be able to win the fight against HIV.
I thought that it was very interesting that you said in the course of your services and studies that it was revealed that teenagers are most vulnerable to HIV/AIDS, yet they lack the moral values and life-saving information. You really like to try to teach teenagers about this because they're the greatest at risk?
Let me say this. Parents are the most vital tools we have to detect HIV. If you look at, everybody you see on the street today is a member of a family. And a family is the smallest unit of a society. The cultivation of basic virtues and proper domestic habits in children is the responsibility of parents. So, whatever anybody does on the street might be a reflection of the information that is available to him or her. So, it is essential that parents comes in to help because the teenagers are the most vulnerable. Part of being a teenager is taking risks. Like I said, you asked me a question about teenagers being most vulnerable to HIV/AIDS. Okay, I'm going to answer that question right now. I said part of being a teenager is taking risks. Teenagers are likely to go beyond limits and they like to question authority. So what I'm trying to let you know is this: because of their age, their physical body, emotions, financial, they have less control over their body. There are factors that can intensify them being more vulnerable to HIV/AIDS. Absence of school could be as a result of them being vulnerable to HIV/AIDS as well.
Mm-hmm. So then, what you teach then in the book, because I was reading it, you really try to help with their vulnerability, just to educate them, because education is the key. If we can get them the proper type of information that they need, then that really will help to fight against this horrible disease. If we could just get to them with this information, so that's very valuable.
Yes, in that education is the key. Let me say this: that everybody is knowledgeable about HIV/AIDS, but understanding is the key in turning the tide against AIDS. Mm-hmm. And I believe we should take HIV/AIDS lectures back to the school. Schools offer a window of opportunity to educate about HIV/AIDS. Mm-hmm. Education can be a one-time thing. It should be an ongoing process. And I believe in the process of doing that, the teenagers which are most vulnerable would get better understanding of what HIV is all about. And that can help them to make a profound decision about their life, a decision that can affect their future.
So true. Now, I believe it's in chapter 2 of your book, you talk about the importance of knowing how valuable the blood is, and you say the blood is your life, and you briefly talk about the importance of the white blood cells and its functions. These cells, particularly the white blood cells, are naturally positioned to defend and protect the human body against all types of diseases. Can you talk about that a little bit, about the white blood cells and why they're so important to defend the body?
Okay, no. Like I said in my book, I wrote that blood is your life. Human blood contains both red and white blood cells. I'm going to talk more about the white blood cells. They are crucial to the normal function of human immune system. So, whenever a germ or infection enters the body, the white blood cells spontaneously move towards the scene and attack the invader by producing protective antibodies that are capable of subduing or even prevent the disease from spreading.
All right, so they really help to defend to keep diseases from spreading.
Yes. White blood cells fight all forms of disease that come into the body. That is a basic function. It produces antibodies. So antibodies are used to fight every form of disease that enters the bloodstream.
The blood cells are very important to help fight against things like malaria, parasites, thyroid, flu, and cough. These are some of the things that you had mentioned. So that's very important. And like you said, not just the white ones, but the red ones as well. So with all that in mind, what does the acronym HIV, what does that stand for?
HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus.
Okay, and then AIDS is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome.
Syndrome, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. That's what it stands for.
Okay, and so then you mentioned here that in terms of the AIDS itself, that it is a disease by which the flesh is consumed and the whole body is dried up with rampant fever, such as the result of the lack of nutrition. And I remember reading somewhere, it says here that the disease occurs when HIV virus cling to the body, to the human blood for a long time, extracting nutrition. So it pretty much zaps and takes the nutrition from an individual. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, that is correct. That is correct. You know, when HIV gets into the body, like I said, it is stronger virus than the white blood cell. So when it